All right, guys. Good morning and a happy Thursday. Let's go ahead and get started with lesson 18. Today's lesson objective tells us I can compute the length of horizontal and vertical line segments with integer coordinates for endpoints in the coordinate plane by counting the number of units between endpoints and using absolute value. So they're going to give us some ordered pairs, and we're going to have to find the distance between those two ordered pairs. Okay, I have attached a blank coordinate plane that you can use to help you answer some of these questions. Okay, but another way we can do this is using absolute value. So we can count the points on a coordinate plane between the two ordered pairs to find the distance, or we could use absolute value, and we will go over that in a bit. So the opening exercise tells us 4 friends are touring on motorcycles. They come to an intersection of 2 roads, and the road they are on continues straight and the other is perpendicular to it. The sign at the intersection shows the distances to several towns. Draw a map diagram of the roads and use it as the information on the sign to answer the following questions. Okay, so these friends come to an intersection, okay, and they are at the origin, okay, facing up, okay, where the arrow is pointing. So once they get to the intersection, they see this sign here at the bottom, okay, and the sign says Albertsville to the left 8 miles, Blossville up 3 miles, Cheyenne up 12 miles, and Dewey Falls to the right 6 miles, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and mark this, okay? I'm not going to scale it. I'm just going to go off my eye. So to the left 8 miles is Albertsville, and up 3 miles is Blossville. Up 12 miles is Cheyenne, okay, and to the right 6 miles is Dewey Falls, okay. So it says, what is the distance between Albertsville and Dewey Falls? So Albertsville and Dewey Falls is on the horizontal number line. One is at 0, or one is at -8. One is at +6, okay? This is Albertsville and Dewey Falls, okay? So one way we can find the distance is to count the units in between these 2 points, okay? But an easier way to do this is to use absolute value. Since the 2 points are on opposite sides of the number line, opposite sides of 0, we can use absolute value to find the distance. Okay, so the absolute value of -8 equals 8, and the absolute value of 6 equals 6. And if we add those 2 together, we get 14, and that is the distance between those 2 points on a coordinate plane. Okay, and you could have used your coordinate plane to solve this. Okay, just remember they started at the origin, okay, and the sign dictates where each point is, okay. So now it's asking, what is the distance between Blossville and Cheyenne? Okay, well, they are both positive, and above 0. So one is at 3, the other one's at 12. Okay, Cheyenne is at 12, Blossville is at 3. Okay, and since they are on the same side of the 0, okay, they're both positive, all we can do is subtract. So we get 12 minus 3, that equals 9. The distance is 9 units, okay? And on the coordinate plane, what represents the intersection of the 2 roads? The intersection represents the origin, okay, the middle. The ordered pair for the origin is 0, 0, okay? Let's move on. So it says, consider the points -4 and 0 and 5 and 0, okay? on your blank coordinate plane, okay, go ahead and plot those 2 points, okay? It should be on the x-axis, okay? So on your coordinate plane, okay, your 2 points should be 1 here, 5 and 0, and 1 here, -4 and 0, okay? So what do these ordered pairs have in common? Well, they're both on the x-axis, and also both have 0 as their y coordinate. Okay. Now, how did we find the distance between these two numbers? Well, let's go ahead and use absolute value to find the distance. Okay. So we could just count the tick marks in between these 2 points, but let's go ahead and use absolute value. Okay, so we have -4. The absolute value of -4 is 4. We have 5, and the absolute value of 5 is 5. We add these two up, and we get 9 units as the distance. Okay, remember we used absolute value to solve this. Okay, you could have just counted the tick marks and you would have gotten the same answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so either way, okay, use your coordinate grid to solve some of these if you need to. Okay, example 2 says, consider the line segment with endpoints 0, 6 and 0, 11. Okay, so now, or 0, -6 and 0, -11. Now, on your coordinate plane, we're only focused on the negative side. Okay, so this is going to be, okay, 0 and -6, and 0 and 11. 0 and -11, okay? So those are where your 2 points are going to be located on your coordinate grid. Go ahead and plot those on there if you need to. Okay, and then it says, what do the ordered pairs of the endpoints have in common? Okay, well, both on the y-axis, and they both have 0 as their x coordinates. Okay, both have 0 as their x coordinates. So it says find the length described by finding the distance between its endpoints. Okay, so one way we can solve this is just counting the spaces in between, the units in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the distance is 5 units. Another way we could have solved this though is finding the absolute value of -6 and -11 and subtracting because they are on the same side of 0. So the absolute value of -11 is 11. The absolute value of -6 is 6. We subtract 11 and 6 and we get 5 units. So either way you do it is fine with me, as long as you get the correct answer for the distance. Correct answer for the distance. Okay. Now, exercises A through E, I want you to pause the video, use the coordinate plane that I attached, and try to find the distance between these ordered pairs on the coordinate plane. Okay, you can count the units or you can use absolute value. Okay, so pause the video and work on that, and then play it when you are done so you can check your answers, because I will just be posting the answers. Okay, so you should have paused your video, okay? And the letter A tells us -3, 4 and -3 and 9, okay? So we know that they're going to lie on the same line, and it's going to be a vertical line, okay? Because we go to -3 up to 4, and then go to -3 up to 9, okay? So we're going to have to subtract 9 minus 4, and that gives us 5 units. So that is the distance for letter A, 5 units. Okay, letter B says 2 and -2 and -8 and -2. Okay, so this one's going to lie on the same horizontal, and 2 and -8 are on the opposite sides of the 0, so we're going to have to use absolute value. So the absolute value of -8 is 8, absolute value of 2 is 2. We add those up and we get 10, and 10 units is my answer for letter B. Okay. Now letter C says -6 and -6 and -6 and 1. Okay. So this is going to lie on the same horizontal, or on the same vertical number line, okay? One's going to be at -6 and -6. One's going to be at -6 and 1. Okay, so in order to find the distance between this, we need to find the absolute value of -6, which is 6, the absolute value of 1, which is 1. We add these up and we get 7 units. And that is the distance. Okay, and the distance for D, you should have gotten 5 units. And the distance for E, you should have gotten 19 units. And I'll tell you why. The absolute value of -11 is 11, plus the absolute value of 8, which is 8. We add these up and you get 19. We add them up because they are on the opposite sides of 0, okay? And they're going to be on the same horizontal, on the same vertical line, okay? So lesson summary says to find the distance between points that lie on the same horizontal line or the same vertical line, we can use the same strategy that we use to find the distance between points on the number line, okay? So we have a problem set that looks like this, okay? Number 1, all you're doing is finding the distance between those 2 points. Number 2, you're going to start here at -2 and 5. You're going to count 3 units up and 3 units down and tell me those 2 points, okay? And then on number 3, this is kind of a difficult problem, so this is kind of an extra, okay? This is going to be extra if you want to try it, okay? You're going to start at -3 and 7, and you have to make a, you have to find the endpoints, 4 endpoints that is 13 units long. So you're going to have to go down 13 units, to the right 13 units, up 13 units, and to the left 13 units. And what makes this hard is even if you use your coordinate plane, okay, it is going to go off your coordinate plane. So you're going to have to add some of this using absolute value or just adding it in your head, okay? So if you have any questions, let me know. And I hope you guys have a great